I'm Nurse Jessica Seitz, along with Nurse Erica. We're Nurses Uncorked, the podcast that takes nursing facts with nursing comedy and makes a little cocktail out of it. All right, so do you want to hear my dating fiasco?
Yeah. I know a little bit, but I don't even know the whole thing of it. But I know that it is quite the tale.
Yeah.
So please.
It was scandalous. So it was back in 1981. No, just kidding. It wasn't that long ago. This was about
it was
13 years ago now. So whatever the hell year that is, 13 years ago. So I'm gonna be very honest here with people. I was a nurse on the unit, and I had been a nurse there for a long time already. I was already worked there for about 14 years. Yeah, that's about right. I'm doing my math. So I was a seasoned nurse on the same unit, same place. So I knew everybody. Everybody knew me.
L&D, right?
Yep, labor and delivery. And had a lot of great friendships with people. Had a very, very dear, well, not at the time, she was dear, best friend, who her husband and me and my husband had, at the time, because I was married, I've been married twice, so I'm talking about my first marriage, we're all best of friends. Like, I'm talking, we had kids the same age, we were best of pals at work. She was assistant, she was the lead charge nurse on the unit, okay, let's put it that way, and she did all the schedules, vacation approvals, so I had an in for everything. Like, it was like a dynamic dream come true, you know? Yeah, I had a best friend who was lead charge nurse. You know, she'd even remind me, you need to put in our requests, you know, like we'd plan trips together. It's 6 months to the day, put it in before somebody else. And, you know, I got privileges. I did, you know. My assignments, she would help me out and be like, do you want that one or that one? I got to give you something. But so, yeah, it was pretty cush.
Not
it was
fair,
good.
But nice for you.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, that's the reality of nursing.
Yeah.
Nurses, unfortunately.
They have their favorites, for sure.
So it was good. And we had we had a great friendship. I had a couple to hang out with. Me and my husband had a couple to hang out with. But what a lot of people didn't know was that me and my husband at the time, our marriage was, it wasn't like volatile or, we were just, we had a friendship. We were great friends, even best friends. We're still very dear friends. I mean, he is somebody that you love to sit down and watch TV with and drink beers and giggle. But our relationship was based on friendship, and especially after the years, you know, without getting into too many details, but we were already sleeping in separate rooms. We weren't fighting, and we were raising our kids.
It was on the way to being over at that point.
Yes, but I had a great friend, and luckily I still do. Until this one day, this new doctor comes
What
on.
happened?
Yeah, this new doctor comes on the unit. He's been hired by one of the busiest OBGYN groups in the area. You know, and I don't know if places you've worked, Erica, a lot of doctors aren't that attractive. Like, there's not many. So when one comes around that is, all the girls notice, right? Like, whether you're married or not, it's the talk of the unit.
Absolutely.
Like, did you see, you know, Doctor? Like, wow, you know. Because it's like eye candy, right? Like, so I didn't think anything of it other than, you know, that he's a attractive guy, and he's and we all just kind of giggled about it. But as time went on, and this kind of brings me to the feeling of the testing the waters with flirting, okay, I will say is what my now husband did back then. He would do little things like, so the doctors got free food and drinks like from the cafeteria. He would purposely.
They get fed, not the nurses.
Oh yeah, no.
Always,
but he would specifically go and get me like a diet Pepsi or diet soda and leave a little note for Nurse Jessica. Like, but it was
no judgment.
It was innocent. Yeah, like, but hey, I didn't want to pay for the diet sodas. Like, so I was like, yeah. As time went on, I got to know him better because we did lots of deliveries together, you know, that kind of stuff. And he was a little bit more flirty, and I think, liking the attention. Like, I wanted to feel that again.
Yeah, you want to feel desired and special, especially when you're not getting that at home.
Yes. Anyways, long story short, we started dating, but the first time that I ever crossed the line, meaning I had kissed my husband, my now husband, I went and immediately told my now ex-husband. I wasn't like, I don't want people to think that I was some one of those people that's like, I'm gonna stay married and save face. I knew.
I mean, no judgment. You know, we've all been in situations that are sticky. You know?
I knew that like, that was the day. A kiss is still, that's cheating. I mean, in my eyes, it is. But I knew there wasn't any going back from that. Like,
okay, wait. But was the kiss at work?
No. As much as people, nope.
Okay.
It was not actually. I went out with one of my girlfriends one night, and one of the girls from my work, and he had mentioned that night that he was going out with one of his friends that was getting divorced. They were having a divorce party, which was kind of weird. And me and my friend ended up meeting them out, like, we were out at Mutual, like there's a mall in Tampa, and they happened to be nearby, so we met up at a place, and so it just kind of happened. But I didn't think like, oh, this is like, I'm going to be in a relationship with this man. It wasn't that. It was just, I knew like, oop, I did something wrong.
There was attraction.
Yes, yeah. And, okay. So, immediately told my husband, and he wanted to work on things, and I knew that it wasn't going to work. So, that's where things turned ugly. So, immediately, because my ex-husband was hurt, you know, he went and told my best friend, who was the charge nurse, and her husband, because we were all, remember, great friends at the time. So I knew it was going to go one of two ways. Either my best friend was going to be in my corner and ultra supportive and like, oh my gosh, like, tell me what's going on, or she was going to be pissed, and she was pissed. So that starts the beginning of a horrible year for me, where I went from having the best assignments, the cushiest assignments, the
ideal work life.
Yes, I was nitpicked, micromanaged at that point. Then she was starting to do the write-ups. So she was now in charge of seeing
your friend, the charge nurse, was doing the write-ups.
Yes, she had taken on this role and was grooming to be assistant manager. Okay, so
God, the timing.
Oh yeah,
Ugh.
Right. And she was not supportive at all, because, you know, and in hindsight, you know, in her eyes, I had ruined what we had.
Like, you disrupted the apple cart, right, for her life, because
I did.
You were the couple, the two couple friends. You know, every couple has a couple that they like hang out with that are besties, right? And you ruined that essentially for her. But she could have been a supportive friend and, you know, like, gone out, sat down with you, and been like, "What's going on?" You know, but instead she chose.
And what's really
she chose violence.
What's really weird about that is, you know, none of the other nurses knew at work, and she chose to have a blow up with me at the nurses station in front of everybody there and spilled the beans on what was going on.
Okay, that's so unprofessional. That should not have happened.
Absolutely, it was unprofessional, and I was devastated. But at the same time, people can spin it however they want. They can be like, how dare you? Because you're seen, it doesn't matter, you're seen, I was seen as a trampling whore. I don't know, however you want to look at it. Like, and of everybody on that unit, I had maybe one or two nurses that still stood in my corner, and to me, that's a friend that didn't. They're like,
that'll stick with you when.
All I want is for you to be happy. Like, if you're not happy in the life that you're in, then whatever that life is going to be, you need to, you know. But everybody else turned their backs on me. They all. I was, because of her being in charge of all of these assignments and the write-ups, my mother at the same time was dying of ovarian cancer. So I was going through a revelation of life is short, and that if you're not happy in the life that you're in, you could be gone tomorrow, you know, and all of these things. So I was the primary caregiver for my mom as she's dying, as I'm going through a divorce, as I'm newly flirty datey with this new doctor. I didn't know that would ever lead anywhere. So I would literally have to go before work to my mom's house to either start an IV on her because she was so dehydrated from vomiting, or because at that point hospice wasn't like around the clock. They'd come like weekly kind of things. So I would work 12-hour days, have to check on her in the morning, check on her in the afternoon. So I was so exhausted that I was late many times, 1 or 2 minutes, sometimes 5 minutes. But there were many days that I was late. And everybody knew what I was going through with my mom, that, you know, that she was terminal. I mean, they knew she wasn't gonna make it, and my best friend knew that. But she was so hell-bent on trying to get me out of there and get me fired that I literally was written up 3 times in 1 week for being late. Okay, so here's how it went. I was late one day, okay? The next day, she had the write-up ready to go, but I didn't work that next day, right? So the next day that I came in, I was late again by 2 minutes, okay? And so she noticed it, had another write-up, so they called me into the office and presented me with two write-ups to sign. I was like, don't you normally put like these on
it together?
That's what they normally did. And she's like, well, no, because we're checking more frequently. So within the span of a week, I was on, because I was already on first written warning. Okay, I already had that or whatever. Yep. So she added 2 more, and I was immediately on final written warning. So it was, if
like
you make
overnight.
If you make any mistake between now and 1 year from now, no matter what it is, one mistake at work, your job is terminated, right?
And the stress of working under that.
Oh my gosh. So I was angry. I was very angry because I'm like, you guys nobody is sympathetic that, literally I'm going through a divorce. My mom is dying. Like, I'm trying my best here, people. It's not like I'm a minute or 2 late, and it was like, sorry, we can't distinguish, like, what. And I understand that. I know late is late. Like, I get that. But I came from managers and stuff in the past. Like, they weren't auditing people's clock-ins every day. Like, it would be like every month or every 2 months, and then they'd bring you in and they'd group it together and they'd be like, get it together here, you know.
Well, and did they tell you that you could apply for FMLA?
Yes, and I did. I ended up applying for FMLA at that point. So I was able to, when I had to, for that next year call off when it was something with my mother. But think of anything else, though. If I were to accidentally mislabel, let's say, a placenta bag, like, or if you didn't put 2 labels, anything.
It was for anything, not just tardies.
Yeah, it could be, if I was written up at that point for anything. So if my
you forgot
charting,
to unclamp the piggyback, and that's technically a med error.
Yeah, I would have lost my job. So instead of feeling defeated, I pulled myself up by my bootstraps and I said, I am going to be perfect. I don't care what it takes. I will not let them find one thing wrong with me.
I totally get that, because I was in a similar situation, take out the husband part, and I was like under the microscope, you know, and I was like, okay, watch me be perfect. Watch me not make a single mistake. And you know what? I didn't, but it nearly killed me.
Me too.
Because I was so, like, constantly paranoid about every little thing, but I was perfect.
I lost like 30 pounds because my anxiety was so through the roof. I couldn't eat. My stomach was in knots. I would stay late to make sure I had every tiny thing charted. I would get up extra early to make sure that I wouldn't be even a minute late. I wouldn't even stay 1 second past my 30-minute lunch if I got a lunch. I did everything that I could in my power, and they couldn't find one thing wrong with me, and I made it through that year. But I think that this is where that whole cancel culture, which we're going to talk about on another podcast, but she was able to rally the majority of the nurses, and nobody wanted to talk to me. Other than those couple nurses.
Was like, how much was, okay, you cheated on your husband versus you are seeing one of our docs?
It was both.
Because was there jealousy?
Oh, there was. I actually multiple times was called into the micromanager I had, into her office for complaints of nurses of things that never happened. One nurse evidently went in and told her that I was licking my now husband's fingers at the nurse's station. Now, he's an OBGYN, okay? Could I wouldn't lick his fingers for nothing. That I was licking his fingers at the nurse's station, okay?
That is so ridiculous. Like, they couldn't even come up with something that seems plausible.
I was like, no, that never happened. I said, tell me who said that. Oh, no, they want to remain anonymous. This would be weekly. I was called in. One time I was told that they saw me making out with him in the med room. And I said, nope, that didn't happen. Again, I said, who said it, so I can talk to them about it. I said, look, at this point, we were dating exclusively, and we were together, a lot of the time. I said, if I wanted to make out with him, I have plenty of opportunity, okay? I don't need to be kissing him in the med room. I know better than that. Right. I knew people were looking for anything.
Okay, but was there a policy where you can't date your coworkers? Because a lot of organizations have one of those.
No, there was not. So our particular hospital that I was at, there was no such policy in place. Okay. So I think there was something about your direct superior. So meaning like, let's say the manager had been a male, or I guess it could have been a lesbian relationship. But like, if it was your direct superior, but he is a physician, he's not a boss of me. So that did not fall into that category. But it got so bad that one day I was called into the office again about somebody saying they saw me and my husband doing something inappropriate. And I looked at my manager and I said, until you have some concrete proof to show me, until you either sit another employee down next to me or you have a video of something that you're saying that I am doing, I don't want you to call me into this office one more time, because this is becoming harassment. I said, this is harassment. I'm not getting written up for these things, because nothing is, I didn't do the things. They're false accusations. People are either making it up because they want me to be fired, or they're jealous and coming up with things. And I don't know. It was the craziest thing, Eric. I can't even tell you.
When I was going through something similar, and I was the perfect nurse because I knew they were looking for any reason, my manager would call me into her office every week, sometimes 2-3 times a week. But here's what she did to really just get me is, I swear to God, she would wait until she knew I was sitting at the nurse's station, like charting. You know, I don't know if she would come out and look, whatever. And then she would be in her office and would call the unit secretary and say, I need Erica to come to my office. So then the secretary would say out loud, Erica, so-and-so wants you in her office now. Well, it's never for a good reason, right? You're never getting called to the manager's office because, like, you're amazing, right? So I was constantly being humiliated in front of all of my coworkers. You know, they're all looking at me like, what the hell are you doing that you are getting called in every damn day? You know, and then I would come out. Yeah, and I would be like probably red because I would be so angry because it would be just another just completely fabricated, you know, so-and-so a parent of a patient complained about you. Who? Right. Oh, we can't tell you. What room?
Oh, I love that.
What was, you know, the issue? Well, okay, how am I supposed to defend myself if you're telling me literally nothing, you know, and then making up this whole you give terrible customer service narrative, you know? But it was like constantly, and she would do it strategically for maximum embarrassment, so that in front of everybody I was being called to the manager's office. It was terrible, like really awful.
I totally understand that. I went. It was the same thing. It was non-stop. But after that day that I said to her, I said, I want to tell you something. There's cameras in our bedroom. Am I not correct? Because there are. I said, find that video of me making out with him in the bedroom, and fire me on the spot. I said, but until you can provide something, I don't want to be called in here one more time. She never called me into the office again about that. No.
Wow, good for you.
Because there was nothing to say. I wasn't dumb enough to do something like that at work. I mean, I knew somebody was looking for anything. I mean, there was nothing that they were going to pin me on. It was just absolutely ridiculous. But what I do want to say to people is that, you know, I wasn't looking for somebody to feel sorry for me, or for people to oh, her mom's dying, or she's going through a divorce, or even, hey, you don't agree with the way I did things. Some, you know, maybe in hindsight, sure, I shouldn't have kissed a doctor and then realized I needed to divorce my husband. Sure, I'm a human being. I make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. But everybody is human. And you want to know something? Several of those nurses that said to me that they couldn't believe that I had stooped to that level, years later ended up having affairs on their husband and are now married to different men. So I'm just saying, until you know, and I don't always like to say that until you walk somebody's shoes, but I'm saying don't think that you could never be in a scenario that you could possibly end up in that position. You just don't know, and you don't know what's going on in somebody's marriage. You don't know what's going on in somebody's life. Me and my
you don't pick who you fall in love with.
No,
you know?
and it was like at the same time I was starting this great love story with my husband. I had nobody to share that with because I had lost my best friend.
Your best friend was gone. Oh yeah.
Yeah, even my sisters were judgmental and did not support me either because. In hindsight, their tune has changed years later because some siblings have gone through similar situations, just like those employees did, you know. And they're like, oh, sorry, I was so mean about that. It's like, but I would never cast judgment on somebody like that. Like, I like somebody for the person that they are, the friend that they are to me, not the choices that they make in their personal life. If I'm a friend, I'm a friend because I like you, and we that's what a friendship is about supporting somebody. Even if they make a mistake, you're there to be their friend. You can give them advice and say, I don't think you handled it.
You're hearing about me. Judge me on how I've treated you. Have you ever known me to do that? Do you know this firsthand? No. Well, then why are you assuming that is true?
And the other part of it is, we're a lot of nurses or a lot of women. We can be catty, we're talky, gossipy, jealous. Women can be jealous. And I had all of those things. I had a ringleader that was making people's assignments, that was in charge of the schedule. So the more that they supported her, right? Like,
the better it was for them at work.
Absolutely. Why do you think they would want to support me and be seen as the devil people? No. Yeah. They were all, it was a perfect storm. I'm
sure there was jealousy
for a disaster.
And, you know, there's kind of that whole like stereotype that for nurses, you know, if you can just find a good doctor to marry, right? Like the nurse and the doctor, you know, it's kind of like the goal, right? Sometimes. And so for you to get that, I'm sure that they were jealous.
Of course. But because remember, I said everybody thought he was attractive. He was like the one handsome doctor and he was single, you know? Mm-hmm. So it was, of course. And maybe it was people, I don't know what motivated all of my coworkers to turn on me, other than thinking, you know, because my ex-best friend, the ringleader, it was all about, I'm going to support the one that's in charge of me. I mean, I can't explain it any other way, but, you know, when you and I talked about this podcast to do it, I am sure that there will be some people that will say I was wrong. I know
I'm
that.
Sure.
I knew going into telling this story,
but warriors out there always.
I know that there's going to be people that are going to say you were married, you should not have flirted, you should not have kissed another man, and that's okay. That's fine. You're entitled to your opinion, but I will say that we are all human beings, and we all need to be validated. We all need to be loved, and we all need to be happy. So if you're not happy in your life and you choose to stay in that, that's fine. But you can't judge somebody who needs to make change. And I was at like I said, a crossroads, and I knew it was, and I saw how quickly my mother's life was taken from her, and I was like, this is my life now, and if I don't do something, and it wasn't an easy road. I mean, it's not like I started dating my now husband and like he paid for it. He was fresh out of med school. He didn't have money. Right. He had debt. He wasn't funded. I had to move into my own rental home, pay for all of my things by myself. Like I took on a lot of
two incomes to one income.
Yeah, it was rough. I'm surprised that I didn't end up in the cuckoo bin, to be honest with you. But I will say that it was the best decision I ever made. Me and my ex-husband are the best of friends, and which is how we always were. And we raised two beautiful children together. And even if somebody feels like at the moment that something might be the worst case scenario, because sometimes it does feel that way, just think that down the road there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and you got to take care of you, because that would be my one message to anybody. You only have one life that you're going to live, and you gotta look out for you, look out for your kids, look out for your happiness. But that's my dating story. It could be a soap opera. I mean,
Nurse Jessica, the scandal.
Very scandalous. On another podcast, we'll have to talk about my lack of a uterus and how that all played into my dating relationship.
You are happily married and you have a couple of kids now. right?
Yes, I do. Yeah. And I...
without a uterus.
So, yeah. That all ties into... earlier I messaged that me and my now husband had a breakup for a while. That played into it because he didn't have kids yet. That was a tough...
He wanted kids, and you were like, I'm done. Right?
Well, actually, I had an ablation, so I couldn't get pregnant. But then I ended up with a hysterectomy. It's a whole nother story, but it's a
Another
love
episode.
fairy tale, if you will, that I think that we'll share on another podcast. So
Well, thank you for sharing that with us.
Yes. Please don't be too mean to me, people. I'm a human being, and I was very vulnerable sharing this story with y'all, but it tied in with the dating, and I thought if I'm doing a podcast and I'm getting into things, I'm going to get into what real people deal with. So I thought I'd share it. So Nurse Erica this week, this is our third tradition that we're going to be doing weekly. We're segueing now into the, go ahead Erica, tell them about it and tell them how we don't have a title for this.
Okay, so we are temporarily calling this the Enema of the Week Award. But we want to open this up to all of you guys out there because we're not totally sold on that name. But, so we're taking suggestions. So please, Jessica had said maybe the GI Bleed of the Week
but what
Award.
is the Enema of the Week Award? What is it?
Okay, so let's tell you who is the first winner of this, and that'll give you an idea.
It's a prize, if you will. It's a prize.
Yes, it's a prize. It's a label. It's a little bit I don't know, catty, but whoever we decide is deserving of the award for the week, whether it's good, bad, or ugly, they're going to get a figurative award from us. And so this week, our first
and wait,
one
I want to say, I don't know who, wait, I want to preface this with, I don't know who this award is going to. So Erica's choosing one week, I'm choosing another week who gets this award. So having that said, we are going to take turns in the process of who is deserving of this enema.
Or whatever it might be called in the future. Okay.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear about it. Let's hear it.
If you've been following on Nurse Talk, then you're probably aware of lots of recent nursing strikes that we talked about on a previous podcast. And there are, of course, nurses that cross the picket line that work strike contracts. And this is nothing new. And we can talk about that on another episode. But there was one in particular that made a video on TikTok just really glorifying working a strike contract. And she's certainly not the only one, but her video in particular garnered some attention.
I know who this is. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, it has been duetted numerous times because people are upset that she is glorifying crossing a picket line where nurses are literally fighting for their rights, for safety, for patient safety, for affordable benefits, proper wages, and that she's going in there and glorifying it as like, oh, look how wonderful this is. I'm hopping on a plane and I'm doing my makeup and I'm going to work this exciting contract and make a lot of money. She's glorifying what is to a lot of us very, very detrimental and certainly not worthy of being glorified. And so our first Enema of the Week award, or whatever it shall be named, goes to that particular nurse creator. I don't want to name her because I don't want her to get bombarded with a ton of hate or anything. But if you've been following along, you know.
I have something to tell you, Erica.
What?
I happened to reach out to this creator without you knowing, and message them about
this one that got the award.
Yes, actually,
I did not.
Yes, I did. I didn't tell you this
Shut
because
up.
I wanted to see if there was a possibility of getting this individual on our podcast, and I was going to surprise you. It was gonna be like a
oh
birthday,
God, can you imagine?
a birthday gift. I was gonna surprise you, and I was gonna come in and be. Honestly, I had it the whole idea planned. I was going to come in and navigate the podcast, and I was going to get both sides because this is a heated debate. I was going to have the strike nurses, or not strike nurses, but scab, whatever you want to call them.
Nurse.
Yes, scab. People call them scab nurses, replacement nurses. Nurses that come in and work when nurses are, what the hell's the word?
Outside on strike.
Strike, yeah. I was going to say picketing, yeah. But I'm like, that's not the right word. Yeah, when they're on strike. So these are the nurses that are contracted to come in. So I was going to have you tell your side and her tell her side on a podcast, and I thought it would be a very educational thing.
Oh my God. You were just going to really, like, catch me so off guard. That's rotten.
But you know what? I think that it would have been, I honestly, if she had said yes, which she did not, she declined, she did respond.
Wait, so you talked to her?
Yeah, on Messenger.
Oh my God. Okay, what did you say?
I said, hey girl, we want to bash you on a pod. No, I did not. I was honest. I said, listen, I have a podcast with Nurse Erica. I know you know who she is. I said, but I would like to play devil's advocate, and if you'd be willing to, she would be there, and you would come on, and this would be both sides of the spectrum. And maybe to educate and hear where you're coming from versus where Erica's coming from. And it wasn't
Did she
like
respond?
I phrased it. I'll read it to you later privately. But I was like, it's not going to be about like me and Erica ganging up on you. That's not. This is like I would be just hearing both sides. And she said she'd think about it, but then she got back to me and said that she was too busy. So that didn't. Sure. It didn't happen, but, well, you know what?
You are sneaky.
I know.
You are sneaky.
I know, but yeah, so that's our first...
It's like Jerry Springer. Come on down!
And if anybody that doesn't realize, like, why I think Erica's giving this award, and if you haven't seen, it's just because it's, like, glorifying it like a day in the life, like, oh, this is so wonderful.
Yeah,
like
that's what it was, like a day in the life of a strike nurse.
Yeah, that's why it rubbed people the wrong way. Was, I mean, first of all, I there's many nurses that don't agree with being, you know, when we're trying to support each other and support better staffing and, you know, better wages or whatever you're striking for. The fact that these replacement nurses come in and make it easier on the hospital because they do still, like, it's seen as like working against what the profession is going towards change. I don't want to sit here and say like, oh, I hate any nurse that does that. That's not what I'm saying, but it's like to make a video and like glorify it is just, I don't know. It's it rubs a lot of people the wrong way.
It's one thing to do it, and then it's another thing to like glorify it and put it out there publicly. And she has like, you know, a decent sized platform, so like it was reaching people. So that was like a whole other level of ick, you know.
Well, some people were like, "Tell me more about it. Where do I sign up?"
And that's always what happens, unfortunately. And so, you know, with her, like, I didn't call her out publicly. I didn't duet her video or anything, but I did comment on her original video, and I made 2 comments, and one was like, I wouldn't be bragging about this, and the other one was something to the effect of, you know, you're wrong, this is actually harmful, and here's why. I don't remember exactly what I said, but it was not insulting or anything. And yet she replied to my video and to my comment, made another video saying that she is just being so bullied. And I'm like, hold up. There is no way that what I said was bullying you. Please stop jumping to the bullying conclusion. Like, it speaks for itself. Look at the comment. You know, if I wanted to call you out, I could have, right? I didn't. This was an educational moment. You can either take it or leave it, but in no way, shape, or form was I bullying you, you know? And so it kind of went from there. And then a lot of other people just ended up finding the video and duetting it, and some, like, even non-nurses that are, you know, union experts were just really upset about it. And
I mean, I think she had to have, I mean, if you post a video and your comments are on, and this is a scandalous topic, she had to have known that there's going to be some people that are going to comment that they don't like it. They don't, and so she's more aware than she realizes. It's not bullying. It's just making a statement on something that Erica's very, very, very passionate about, and a lot of us are.
I am.
Yeah, that this is the one thing that does not sit well. One of the one things that does not sit well with Erica. Like,
it does not.
No.
But I mean, I can have the conversation, you know, and I really truly believe that, and we can get into this on another
episode. And maybe she'll change her mind. Really, but you could do that amicably, could you not, if she did decide?
Oh, I could, for sure. Because I really believe that a lot of these nurses that do this are truly unaware of exactly what goes on behind the scenes with the nursing strike and with the labor movement and just how damaging it is.
Well,
like,
the
vast majority...
They equate it to travel nursing. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, it's not the same thing.
You may be traveling.
And a lot of travel nurses are insulted when they say that, because they're like, don't you dare, you know? But even just the fact that most hospitals have strike insurance, like the fact that they don't even know that tells you everything, because that's one of their main excuses is, I'm helping the strike because I'm costing the hospital so much money that they were going to have to end the strike soon and negotiate. No, that's bullshit. They have strike insurance, so they've paid their premium for the year, just like if you pay your car insurance, and now they're using that insurance. It's not costing them anymore. They don't care.
Who covers that? You know, like AAA?
Yeah.
Who do you call?
I don't know. I don't know.
I need some strike insurance. I'd like
Strikes
a quote.
Are us.
I'd like a quote, please. What do they ask you? Do you have metal detectors at your hospital? Do you have appropriate staffing?
I do know that they can get it for different lengths of time. So a lot of policies are not like open-ended where you can just go on strike forever. Some of them may only cover 30 days, 2 months. I don't know. It's kind of like car insurance. Like, you can get what you want for your policy. And then some of them include security, because you do need added security for strikes, and some don't. So it's variable. They can kind of customize their own thing. But I do believe that a lot of the replacement nurses are just willfully uneducated on these things. And so I'm always open to have that conversation.
Awesome. That's good to know. See, she's not that horrible of a person, everybody. I don't care what y'all say about Nurse Erica. I like her. I'm just kidding.
It's always my fault. Right?
It is. When in doubt, it's Nurse Erica's fault. That's all I gotta say.
When in doubt.
Yeah. So, like we said before, if you have an idea for if you have an anonymous question, please email us. Or if you have a suggestion for the name of this award, better than the enema, because we're not 100% on that.
Totally sold.
Please let us know. We like we said, we thought of GI bleed. I thought of the fecal award. So we have some names that are maybe C. diff. We could do the C. diff. I don't know.
C. diff. The MRSA award of the week.
Yeah, the explosive diarrhea. I don't know. Vomit chunks.
Train wreck admit. I don't know. We need something that like rolls off the tongue.
Yeah. So let us know if you come up with anything. Let's wrap it up with cheers. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.